And hello, welcome back. So this is part 3. So this is thunderstorms. So we're starting to get into thunderstorms and tornadoes and eventually hurricanes. But in order to get into that, we're going to start with thunderstorms. So first and foremost, be sure to check out your PowerPoint because we got a couple of slides on that as well. So thunderstorms, they occur in all 50 states. However, some states see more thunderstorms than others. So look at that map and you'll see that the vast majority of the thunderstorms are along coastal regions. State of Florida, Mississippi Gulf Coast, Louisiana Gulf Coast, Texas as well. So a lot of thunderstorms occurring in those locations. Also, most thunderstorms occur in the late afternoon and the early evening. Now, they can occur 24 hours a day. I'm sure that you have been woken up in the middle of the night with a rumble of thunder. However, the vast majority occur late in the afternoon. That is because of daytime heating, because as what we've said earlier, the sun doesn't heat the air. Sun heats the ground, which heats the air above it. So as the earth warms throughout the day, all of that heat begins to rise. If you've ever been in an attic in the summer in the deep south, you know that heat rises. So as that heat rises, it creates those thunderstorms later on in the afternoon. Then as things begin to stabilize, as the sun begins to go down, it gets a little bit cooler, a lot of those thunderstorms begin to die out. So let's talk a little bit about some of the stormiest places that we see in the United States. First and foremost, Florida. Lakeland, Florida sees 100 thunderstorm days a year. So almost 1 out of every 3 days sees a thunderstorm in Lakeland, Florida. That is followed by Fort Myers, Florida, and then also Orlando, which is another reason why you should never go to Disney World in the middle of the summer, because a lot of times you're going to be dealing with thunderstorms. Pick another time of the year to go to Orlando. They see 87 thunderstorm days out of 365. Getting a little bit closer to here to home, Mobile, Alabama, also one of the top ones, 79 thunderstorm days out of the year. Lake Charles, just down the road, sees 77 thunderstorm days out of the year, followed by New Orleans at 72 days, and then Houston at 65 days. So a lot of thunderstorms in this neck of the woods because you need 2 things. You need instability, which I'll explain in just a second, and you need moisture. You obviously have to have moisture to have a thunderstorm because you have to have that rainfall. So again, Florida, very hot, very humid. Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, Texas, at least the Houston, Galveston area, very hot, very humid. So you see a lot of thunderstorms in those regions. So as I mentioned, instability. What exactly does that mean? So let's say you have a couple of trees and you have a parking lot over here, okay? So here's our sun, and as our sun beats down, this concrete is going to warm a lot faster than this area over here with the trees. Again, because the trees are going to absorb some of that, the grass is going to absorb some of that, but you've seen this. You walk outside into a concrete parking lot in the summer, it's burning up, you go under a tree, it's a lot cooler. So it actually makes sense, okay? So this air heats up a lot more rapidly. So let's say this air is 90 degrees. Meanwhile, over here, it's, say, 85 degrees, okay? So 90 degrees in the bubble, 85 over here. With this bubble of air, because it is warmer than the surrounding air, is going to rise, okay? Again, like a hot air balloon. That's how a hot air balloon works. Dude pulls the thing, heat goes into the balloon. The air in that balloon is warmer than the surrounding air outside of it, so it continues to rise. You want the balloon to come back down, you quit pulling on the thing, the air inside cools, and it becomes the same temperature outside, so it starts to sink. That is why you never see hot air balloons outside in the afternoon hours, because especially in the summer, because it's never going to get hot enough inside that balloon to get hotter than the outside air. So when you see balloon festivals around here, there's one in Baton Rouge, they take place in the early morning before the outside air has a chance to get too hot. So that air inside the balloon is warmer than the air outside. So again, think of this as a balloon or a big bubble. So if it comes up here, and it's going to cool as it rises, because again, it's getting away from the surface of the earth. So let's say now here it's 87 degrees, but the air here is 83. Is going to continue to rise until these temperatures match each other. So when they're the same temperature, that's when it'll stop rising. But as long as you have the bubble warmer than the outside air, then it's going to continue to rise, and that causes instability. So you need instability for thunderstorms to develop, and you need that air to be forced upward. It can either be from daytime heating, it may be a front that forces that air upwards, and then all of a sudden it's warmer than the air surrounding it. It may be a sea breeze. You notice if you've ever been to the beach on a hot summer afternoon, how you get that wind beginning to come in off the ocean? That's the sea breeze. It hits other winds that are on land. It creates those thunderstorms. So again, that air has to be nudged upwards, but if you have that instability in place and that moisture in place, you're going to begin to get those thunderstorms. So thunderstorms, they have a life cycle, just like people or anything else. They're kind of a birth, a mature stage, and then they have a dying stage as well. So check out your PowerPoint, and you'll notice that the very beginning stage of a thunderstorm is called a cumulus stage. And it is dominated by what we call updrafts. So here's our thunderstorm. Winds are coming into the thunderstorm, and they're going up into it. They're transporting that warm, rich, very moist air into that thunderstorm. And as that happens, this thunderstorm is going to continue to grow as that winds keep getting sucked into it and bringing in that very warm, rich, moist air. Second stage is going to be the mature stage. And that is when you have updrafts and you have downdrafts. So the updrafts are bringing in all of that very warm, rich, moist air. It's bringing it all in, and it's transporting it into that cloud. Well, eventually that cloud gets so heavy with moisture that it can't hold it enough anymore. So that's when the rain starts to fall. But as all of those millions of droplets of moisture and rainfall start falling out, it drags air down with it. So that air coming down with it is that downdraft. If you've ever been outside and all of a sudden, you know, there's like a thunderstorm close by, and then all of a sudden you get a big blast of kind of cold wind, that's a downdraft. That's all of that air that's coming down with those raindrops. It hits the ground. It can't go anywhere, obviously, because it hits the ground, so it spreads out. Downdrafts can be incredibly powerful. In fact, a downdraft was what was responsible for some damage about a year and a half ago up around CLTCC, at least the old campus. The damage that Pizza Hut and also that nearby car wash, that was a downdraft. It was a big blast of very, very strong wind that came racing across the surface of the earth. That's why airplanes avoid thunderstorms, especially when they're trying to land. Back, I think it was in the 1980s, a plane was trying to land in Dallas, and it got caught in a downdraft, and it literally just pushed the airplane into the ground, causing it to crash. So they can be very, very strong. So you have to keep an eye on those as well. But that's a downdraft, and that's the mature part of the thunderstorm. When you have updrafts going into the thunderstorm, bringing in that fuel. Kind of think of the thunderstorm as like a car engine. It's got to have that fuel. It's got to have that rich, warm, moist air coming into it. But the mature stage also has the rain coming out of it as well. The last stage of a thunderstorm is the dying stage. That's when it only has the downdrafts. Eventually, those downdrafts are going to be so powerful they cut off any updrafts that are coming in. So again, think of it like a car. If you forget to put gas into the car is going to stop. It's not getting that fuel. You're going to quit running. Thunderstorm is the same way. That rich, warm, moist air that's feeding into it, if it gets cut off by the downdrafts, which eventually it will, it loses its fuel, so eventually that thunderstorm is going to die. So the beginning stage, the cumulus stage, is dominated by updrafts. Mature stage has updrafts and downdrafts, and then the dying stage only has the downdrafts, and that's when that thunderstorm begins to die on out. We'll come back in just a minute with a look at different types of thunderstorms. Hang on.